up in the south side of Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a guy on here, Mike. Mike will be super thrilled about that because it seemed like he watched the Bulls in the '90s, so he'll be ecstatic about that.
Me too.
Right. I do have to ask though, because I was stationed in San Antonio a couple times, and you are right. It's one of those. It's not a small city, but as far as professional sports, Spurs are kind of the thing that dominate it. And from everything that you've managed to do and accomplish so far in your life, and you've proven against all odds with what everybody would probably bet against you. What are some of your future goals? Like, is there something that you want to move further towards as far as in the future, or really what are your plans for the next thing?
My future goal is to just become the best version of myself every single day, and just continue to get my reps in. Continue to just be on podcasts with people like you guys, people who I know are trying to come up in the game, and just help out anybody any way that I can. And finally, I think the last goal, like ultimately, honestly, I would want to talk sports radio and just get paid a good paycheck to just talk sports. That's all I want. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be, everybody look at me. That's not what I want. All I want is for people to hear my voice behind the microphone, and for me to get paid and be able to take care of my family by doing that. That's the only thing I want to do.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jay, did you have any other questions you want to ask?
Not even more questions about that. I mean, she really wrapped it around. I definitely applaud that last thing, to get that voice heard and kind of get your passion out, but be able to take care of your family at the same time while doing it. So I'm definitely understanding that.
Kenny, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I did have one more question. So if you had to, I think you might have answered, but I may be wrong. So if you had to pick between the two, between being a sports radio personality or being a columnist, which one would you pick, or if you had to?
Oh man, I think I would do. Okay, I would like to do both, but I would, whoever's gonna pay me a paycheck, but like vision wise, I like to do sports talk radio. My grandmother, she was she was not a sports radio host, she was a radio host in South Texas for 32 years. She had the #1 show in South Texas for 32 years. She was the main host in the mornings for the morning drive. So I feel like it runs in my family to be in radio, and I feel like I want to make my grandmother proud. She's very proud of me already, but I think that that's what I would like to do. I just want to stick to the family, tradition. That's kind of what I would like.
Love it. That's awesome.
Well, Ms. Teague, I do have a question for you. I might just text that to you privately because we are on a time period, and I don't want to get these other guys riled up with that question.
You can text. You can ask me right now. It's not a problem. Or is it secret? Is it a secret question?
It has something to do with the Cowboys. I bet you.
I thought Tony was going to ask this question. You said he was born and raised out there in Chicago. Chicago's a big Jordan. They love and praise the man. Down there in Windy City. Is Jordan the GOAT or LeBron the GOAT in your eyes?
Come on, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on.
Come
on. It's Michael Jordan all day long.
Thank you.
I think LeBron has played, over 200. I think the stat came out. It was like LeBron has played 286 games more than Michael Jordan, and he's still trying to catch up to his legacy. So he needs to keep up. And Space Jam 2 was garbage compared to Space Jam 1. The soundtrack of Space Jam 1 was better than Space Jam 2. Michael Jordan. Everybody buys Jordans. Nobody buys LeBrons. It's Michael Jordan in every way, shape, and form. And because of Michael Jordan, there was something called the Michael Jordan effect. Before Michael Jordan came into the NBA was very popular, but the Jordan effect caused several. I think it was like multi-million-dollar industry for the NBA. It turned the NBA into a multi-million-dollar industry. He was a worldwide phenomenon all over the country, and nobody did it like Michael Jordan at the time that he did it in the 1990s. And everybody who came after him tried to emulate his style, tried to bite his style. But there's only one Coca-Cola, and that's Michael Jordan.
Yeah, look at Fred. They're taking all them hits. Yes.
As many have tried and all have failed, but until you came on Real Talk, it ain't beyond. And you know what?
Freddie took all them hits to the face,
About
boy.
now
All them hits.
He
All
changed
them
the
hits,
game with
boy.
everything. Everything he touched, he changed. Everything.
Can somebody
This,
tell me what
this
Ray
is a debate
Poppins was?
only in Freddie's
He just got
mind.
on.
We
yeah.
can't hear you, Ray.
Ray.
Hey,
You muted, Ray.
Jordan got
Turn your-
you
muted, bro.
Hey, look, you know what? She's right because I watched Michael Jordan play from high school all the way to the NBA.
Same here.
You know, he played at North Carolina University. He went and got him a title in college level. Went to the Olympics, played before he went to the NBA. He's done more in less time than than LeBron has done in more time. You know, he did his in
All
less
it needs to
time.
be said.
I think we need to change the subject. Go and get into the
Yeah,
sports talk.
you
You
think?
taking them hits,
You
boy.
think?
You taking them hits.
All right, man.
To
See y'all
be
later.
fair,
All them body shots to the gut.
honestly, to be fair, I feel like there's a GOAT in every era. Like, I think Jordan was a GOAT in his era, and
Amen.
then Kobe was a GOAT in his era, and then LeBron's a GOAT in this era. But if we had to have a GOAT, chart,
Overall,
I'm going to
yeah.
put Michael at the top of my GOAT chart.
Mhm. For sure.
Well, you know,
For sure.
I look at it this way.
Understood.
When you're talking about goats and stuff and errors, you got to talk about the errors. You can't talk about everything because everything has done changed from one era to another, and
Right.
you just can't keep going because basketball has changed terrifically from Michael
It's
Jordan
evolving.
days to now to LeBron days because Michael
We
Jordan
already
days
seen the GOAT. so
all the
it don't
hand
matter.
checking. So so I
You
agree
know
with her.
what? I'm not going to debate this, but I'm going to move to the next topic because I
Freddie
could
up there,
debate it.
Freddie up there just
Let's go,
disgusted.
let's go.
Just waste time.
Freddie up there just
Yeah.
disgusted. Look at you, Freddie. It's
Waste time.
disgusted.
All right, Mr.
No,
G.
but the next topic, I'll go ahead and put it out there because you're right, Freddie. Usually I do bring up and especially when we have a female guest on, I usually do bring it up. I got a daughter, so I like to, push that. But what do you think Becky Hammon's impact on the sports industry, and when do you think she'll actually get that coaching job?
I would like for her to get a coaching job within the next year or so. I feel like she has earned that role, and I think she's been really, really patient throughout this time. I like how she's humble about it, and she's like, I don't want to get hired because I'm a woman. I'm going to get hired because I earned it. But she's done it all. She's played in the WNBA. She's a Hall of Famer in the WNBA. Then she worked with the San Antonio Spurs underneath their coaching staff for several years before she signed on as an assistant coach. And she's second to Greg Popovich at the moment. I feel like Becky Hammon, there's a lot of men who are coaches, like Steve Nash, for example, who have not done what Becky Hammon has done, and they're already the head coach of an NBA team. However, I think if Becky Hammon were to become a head coach of an NBA team, it would have to be the right situation for her. It would have to be an organization where she would feel comfortable with. And I'm personally hoping that she goes with the San Antonio Spurs once Greg Popovich decides to retire. But if she gets an opportunity anywhere else, I would be very happy for her to go in any place. So as far as is she ready to be an NBA head coach, if Steve Nash is ready to be an NBA head coach, then Becky Hammon is ready to be an NBA head coach, and that's where I stand.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, she has the accolades. She's made the first team 3 times. She made the second team 3 times. She led the league in assists a time or 2. She was undrafted into the WNBA and to go where she was. So she has all that as well. And to be kind of brought up behind Popovich the way she has, I agree with you. It's just a matter of time. And I do agree that the best team organization set up for her already is right there.
Yeah, I think it's right there in front of our face. So I love Becky Hammon. She just reminds me a lot of myself in a way. Like, I'm not an WNBA player, but she has that underdog mentality. She's always been the underdog, and she just proves it through her work, who she is as a person. So a lot of women like myself, or just anybody who keeps up with sports, we see a lot of ourselves in Becky Hammon. So we're the majority of women who are in sports, we're all rooting for her to be the NBA head coach one day.
Yeah, and I think she's paid, she not only as a player, she's built her resume, but she's built her resume as a coach as well. She's been on that San Antonio bench for, quite a few seasons now. She even led the summer league team to a championship a few, summers ago. And she's been getting some. She was a finalist for the Portland job that wound, ultimately going to Chauncey Billups. So she's close. She's right there. So I think it's just a matter of time. And I agree with you guys. I think the Spurs would be the best opportunity. I don't see Greg Popovich coaching much longer. So if she's willing to wait, I think that would be the perfect transition.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. And the Spurs do have a lot of respect for her. Last point that I want to make. The Spurs do have a lot of respect for her. I interviewed Derek White about 2 weeks ago, and I asked him what his thoughts were about Becky Hammon becoming the head coach of the NBA, and he said that he would be down for her to be the head coach when Greg Popovich decides to retire.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't get no better stamp than that.
You got that right. All right, let's move to the next topic. How important was Team USA for young Keldon Johnson's career?
I think it was very important for Keldon Johnson's career. Keldon Johnson has been a great player since he came from the University of Kentucky. He's been one of the standout players. Zion Williamson came from his class. Zion Williamson got a lot more press coverage when he was drafted in the NBA. Keldon Johnson is kind of one of those sleeper players who you didn't necessarily see getting a lot of media coverage. Plus, he came up through the San Antonio Spurs through the G League, because San Antonio is notorious for putting their rookie players in the G League for the summer league, or for a year or two prior to them putting them on the main roster, even though they're drafted as the rookie. So he wasn't getting a lot of press coverage at the moment. So I feel like he was a sleeper player in that aspect because nobody really saw him coming. But once he started to play for the San Antonio Spurs, he was very aggressive on the court, great on defense, very formidable on offense. He was a little bit impulsive in his first season, but he's been fine-tuning his skills a lot more this past season coming up. He's been a standout player, and he's been able to become a starter. And when the other players for Team USA were not able to play, Keldon Johnson was the one player that was able to stick through Team USA because of his skill set. Kevin Durant even said that he's a great player and he showed his worth on the Team USA team. Damian Lillard said the exact same thing. And I think this was great for Keldon Johnson because Keldon was proving his worth to these all-star players that were on the Team USA roster. So when it comes to showing who he's worth and how aggressive he is on the court, I think being on Team USA was the perfect moment for him to show his skills, and he got a gold medal out of it. So I'm really happy for him.
Awesome. Did any of you guys want to speak on that?
Yeah, I just think that it's just this year's going to be a coming out party for Keldon Johnson because he has a really great skill set. He's super athletic. And he started coming on last year, and now with DeRozan gone and with Rudy Gay gone, this is pretty much his team now. So I think he's really going to take that leap because the saying is iron sharpens iron, and just being in the presence of all of those great players and going up against them in practice every day, I just think this is going to just do wonders for his confidence and for his skills. And I just think that he's going to really have a big time edge. I could see him being a 20-plus point scorer this year for sure.
I definitely, and I've been saying this for the longest time, if there is a breakout star, because for a while I thought the Spurs don't have a star, right? And I think that star is Keldon Johnson.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you.
Yep. Much so.
All right. Last topic while you're on tonight, Ms. Teague, is, we're used to the San Antonio Spurs being in championship conversation, because you have Greg Popovich, who could arguably go down as the top 2, top 3 greatest coach of all time. We've known him to have, Tim Duncan, Kawhi Leonard, Patty Mills, and the crew, but now it's a different team. It's more of a younger team. What should this season for the San Antonio Spurs look like this year?
I think this season is going to be their time where they prove their worth. They're currently in the rebuild phase. The San Antonio Spurs were playoff contenders for 23 years in a row, and for the first time the past 2 years, they didn't reach the playoffs. Now, that was because they were going through a rebuild phase. Now they've added more young players. The older veterans are out. Now the veterans at the moment are Derek White, DeJounte Murray, and they're quite young if you just look at their age in general. They don't really have a veteran presence on the squad, but I think this is the perfect moment for San Antonio to show what they're really worth. I think it's the perfect moment to start the rebuild phase. I think adding those young players who are strong on the court is going to be great. And also, they had a defensive struggles the past 2 years, and I think they're just going to get better with Derek White not being injured this season. So I think the San Antonio Spurs have a lot to prove. They were ranked number 14 on the NBA list of teams in the West, I believe, if not mistaken. I think it was number 14. But I don't think that they're going to rank like that. I think they will, even though they have the second toughest schedule this season ranked, I do believe that they're still going to end up at least being able to do the play-in game, simply because I've seen how hard the players have been playing. They've been in the gym. Brent Forbes has been in the gym 3 times a day. Luka has been, he looks swole now. He looks really good. I'm like, damn, like I'm not checking him out, but he looks great. And he's getting muscle on him. And he's gonna be, Luka Samanik is gonna be one of the breakout San Antonio stars in my opinion. And then of course you have Keldon Johnson, who's doing a great job. So I think if anything, at the minimum, they're gonna at least get the play-in game. And then, of course, the universe will align itself, and we'll see what happens with them. But I believe it's going to be beneficial that the first 8 games of the season are going to be a tough stretch for them, because they face the Milwaukee Bucks, which is the reigning champions for the NBA. I think it's going to be really tough for them to do that first 8-game stretch. However, the benefits of that is that the Milwaukee Bucks, they might not play their best players in the beginning of the season, or you never know what happens. And Brent Forbes, he just came back to San Antonio, and he might have a revenge game of some sort. So I think that they're going to, we'll see what happens, but I think play-in game, that's obtainable at the moment.
I can agree with that. I can see them as the dark horse too, because I mean, looking at that roster, like you said, they got a bunch of young stars. You got Lonnie Walker, you got Keldon Johnson, you got Derek White. I agree that Luka is one that's I'm seeing as an improver this year, as one of the most improved on the team. Hopefully, because if he comes around, then you really wraps up that squad. Then you got DeJounte Murray as well. So putting that all together, that young team can surprise folks, and because you're going to get a lot of teams that I think are going to try to overlook them, look past them on that, especially early on in the season, like you were saying, and maybe they might come out on top of that.
We'll see what happens. The West is a notoriously strong conference, but anything can happen. I'm personally wanting the Suns to take it all, because I believe in Chris Paul, and I just want him to win a championship. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I knew I liked you. See, that's what. Did you hear that, Freddie?
You got.
Oh, that's about, yeah.
That was perfect.
Great
timing.
Great choice on the
Yeah, good choice,
timing.
Freddie. Good choice. You just showed your true,
Perfect
and Freddie just showed his true colors right there.
Hey, no. But no, I definitely agree with that. What do you think, Kenny? I mean, where do you put Spurs at?
No, I think that's the best case scenario, that they wound up in that play-in. I think that's the ceiling for them, because that's a really young team. Like they are really young and inexperienced. So, and like you said, the West is stacked and loaded. So I think that's going to be the high, because you're going to need in order for them to really, get to that ceiling, you're going to need Keldon Johnson to average 20 a game. You're going to need DeJounte Murray to average 20 a game. Like, they're going to need Brent Forbes to give them 15 plus a game. And they're going to need Derek White to give them 10, 15 plus a game. And, they're going to need something from that front court, because I believe Bertans is on that team too as well, right? Davis Bertans,
no,
is he on that team?
I think he got traded. I think he got traded. Yeah, I think he did. Unless it's Luka.
Yeah, I think so. And then they still got Thaddeus. They still got Thaddeus, who they're looking to shop on right now.
That young, and it's Drew Eubanks.
Gotcha.
So they traded Bertans.
Well, yeah. So they got a lot of young, talent on that team, and so I think it's going to be interesting. I was surprised that Popovich didn't step down after this season, because I didn't think he had the energy, for a rebuild. I thought he would step aside after the Olympics and turn it over to Becky Hammond. So I'm kind of surprised.
I think an influence of that was going back to the Keldon Johnson thing. I think that influenced him staying at this rest of this year or this next year because if you think about it, Keldon came out and yeah, he was on the roster. He always gives one rising star a chance to get on the roster. We've seen that from past years. But when Keldon came out, he performed well. So not only did he come out and just play on that team, but he really performed and gelled with that squad. So I think he sees something in Keldon Johnson that maybe we don't even notice yet that we're about to see out of him being the number one finally. So I think that might have some influence on it.
I mean, you could be right. I just, Popovich is kind of grumpy, for lack of a better term, and like kind of be a grizzly old man at times. So I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if he had the patience to deal with such a young roster. So I was kind of surprised.
I can see both points. Because last year when you watched him on the court, he just looked frustrated with them, and you could tell he was mad, like just tired of putting up with them. But I like the Keldon Johnson point. Maybe he sees a potential breakout star in them. But I also think it's also a mixture. And I don't like to bring personal stuff into it. But personally, he had been dealing with a lot. His wife had passed away about 2 years ago. And I think, that might have something to do with it too. Just him having something to do.
Him young too.
Yeah, no having something to do. So it might have to be a mixture of all that.
Yeah, great point.
Shout out to Steve Bird for on Fox D Network and tuning into the show. Shout out from the Sharon show. Appreciate that, our brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I mean, those were all the questions we had directly geared to you. Do you want to stay on with this? You can more than welcome to stay on with us. We're about to get into some more basketball stuff.
I would love to. I have time for like 5 minutes. If y'all want to ask me whatever, y'all can throw whatever at me, and I'll answer it, and then we good. Because I have to eat some food, man. I'm super hungry. I like to eat a lot. I'm in Texas. I like to eat my tacos.
Hey, you in Texas? Hey, Texas is where it's at. I'm trying to tell you.
Where are y'all from, anyways? Where are y'all from?
We're all over the country.
Literally. Yeah, all over.
Okay,
So I live in Texas. You heard of Marshall, Texas?
No, that sounds like a cop city.
No, it's 2 hours away from Dallas. It's 2 hours away from Dallas.
Okay. So you like the Cowboys?
No,
wishes.
Hell,
he wishes.
I'm a Giants fan.
You're a Giants fan.
Right.
That love Aaron Rodgers.
I'm surprised you haven't
a Giants and
yet.
Packers fan.
Yeah, he's our Green Bay Giants fan.
Who's a Green Bay fan?
He's a Green Bay fan and a Giants fan.
Like this. I'm a Giants fan.
You're a Giants fan? I'm surprised you haven't got jumped.
Oh,
right.
You're right by Dallas.
Thank you. Shouldn't he be thrown out of Texas?
Cowboys know what's up when they see me. They know what's
thrown out of Texas.
They say the same thing year in, year out. Year in, year out. You know we going.
Hey, as much as he be
that is true.
he probably got a backup Cowboys jersey in the car, so when he get out the car, he can slip it out.
His father already put him on blast to be a low key Cowboys fan.
I'm a low key. You know why? I love watching them. On Sunday, I get my popcorn, I sit down and watch them, and I just get a laugh. They entertain him. They doing something crazy.
He put the camera on himself.
I like putting my money on the team that's the opposite of Cowboys because it's easy.
So you was doing good. Now you messing up.
Right?
I don't know. Put me on that. I don't want to be on no big screen.
You was doing good. Now you messing up.
Where y'all? The rest of y'all from? Tony, where you from?
I'm in Florida.
Florida. So I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana originally, but I'm stationed in Dayton, Ohio currently.
Well, thank you for your service. What's your favorite team?
I am a Cowboys fan and a Colts fan.
And a Colts fan too?
Yep, and a Colts fan. I got to root for the hometown team.
You think their defense going to be better this year?
I think it is, yeah. I think that unit with another year together, kind of melding together. Pitty from Michigan has looked really good in the preseason. So I think overall, I think this defense is going to be just as good. I don't know about better, but I think it's going to be just as good as it was last year.
Yeah, they had a good defense last year. I was jealous.
Yeah,
Jay, where you? Who's your team?
My team, I'm Arizona everything. So I'm originally from California, but I grew up out here in Arizona. I'm an Arizona Cardinal fan, and then the Phoenix Suns. You know, he was on that
Okay.
ride.
Did you almost cry when they lost? Because I was sad when they
Hey
lost.
man, I was hurt, but I couldn't be that disappointed. We weren't even supposed to make the playoffs. That's why we
Yep.
had underdog statement. We wasn't even supposed to make the playoffs. So we was in the final. We was in the
He wasn't supposed to make the
I bet
playoffs.
everybody in the city that the Suns were gonna have one of the best seasons ever, and I won, and I was like, I told y'all so. And that was before Chris Paul got traded, so I was really happy for them. So
And that was the thing to me. They called the bubble thing a hiccup, and no, man, Devin Booker just got a fire lit underneath him. He carried that into the next season, and we just so happened to pick up Chris Paul, and the rest is history. So
I think they're winning, and he's dating Kendall Jenner too.
see, that's.
he's winning.
I don't know if that's a plus though. You know?
Hey man, listen. If he's happy, baby, he go play harder. So whatever makes him play harder and gets up to that promised land, that's what I'm going for.
I heard that.
Period.
Wow.
Julio, who's your team? Where are you from? Who's your team?
I'm from Burien, Washington, living in Georgia. I'm a New Orleans Saints fan.
You said who's your team?
New Orleans Saints.
Oh, damn! I feel like so. What's
He's
going
kind
on
of sad.
with the hurt?
Bro.
Are they gonna play the Saints game? Are they gonna play it in Dallas after all? Do you know about that?
They're supposed
No, they're
to.
playing it in Jacksonville.
They're playing in
actually.
Jacksonville.
Oh, they're gonna play it in Jacksonville after all. Okay, I was trying to figure out because I know Jerry Jones was saying that they wanted to host them, so they're gonna do it in Jacksonville.
Yeah, they're gonna do it in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it just came out like yesterday or today or something like that.
They're gonna miss like at least the first 4 weeks out there.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh, so they're gonna play them all in Jacksonville?
Oh, I don't know. I know it's just the first one.
This
They've only
the first
confirmed
one's
the
going to
first
be in
one.
Jackson. We don't know about the rest yet. They hadn't announced the rest.
How do you feel about the Taysom Hill experiment?
I'm glad it's over. I'm glad it's done. He definitely isn't. He definitely isn't the man. I don't think. But the thing about it, I don't think Jameis is either. So
So is it really over,
he's
or is
just
it
gonna
just to be continued?
He's just gonna be a. He's just gonna be a. Jameis just gonna be a placeholder till we get a real quarterback up in there.
No, I disagree with you, Will. I think James is going to have a big year this year. I think having the chance to sit back and watch Drew Brees play quarterback and see his decision making, I think he's going to be better. I think he's going to take care of the ball better and less
I hope
turnovers.
for that. I hope for that. I hope for that.
Sean Payton is a great designer of plays and a great play caller, so I think he's going to put him in the best
Will,
position.
you ever tried to drive?
I
You
think
ever been in like a rainstorm and in your windshield wipers are like not good?
Yeah.
And your front windows all smudged.
Yeah.
That's how you looking.
Look, to
he
me,
got his laser surgery. His eyes are better. He can see.
Look, if the Saints are going to
we should
win,
have to worry about 30 interceptions.
look, if the Saints are going to win, if the Saints are going to have any chance this year at all, run the football. You got Murray, you got Kamar, run the football, play good defense. Don't depend on Jameis Winston to win you games. Don't do it. Don't do it. You probably will see some improvement from him because he did have that time with Drew and it's with Sean Payton. But I just wouldn't depend on him to win.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna listen to you because you're the one that watching the most, probably.
I just wouldn't depend on Jameis. I just wouldn't depend on him to win.
I think Jameis is going to be the comeback player of the year.
I agree.
Okay, Kenny, what's your team? Where are you from?
I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm originally from New York, but I live in Jacksonville, Florida. My team is Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna go 10-6, like?
I'm gonna say like
or 10-6,
11
10-7 this year.
Well,
7,
yes.
7,
I'm saying like 11-6. 10
Be real, Kenny. Be realistic.
Let's just say 11-6, 10.
That's not realistic.
We win the division. And definitely not worried about the Giants. The only
Be
team in the division
realistic.
I'm worried about is the Washington football team. I think it's between us and Washington in terms of who's going to win the NFC East. And there's only going to be one team that makes the playoffs out of the East because it's the worst division in football.
And Freddie,
you think their quarterback depth chart is going to be an issue?
I'm not totally sold on that. I think that there will be a vet. Maybe Cam Newton comes to town, but I think Dak is going to be on a mission this year, and I think also that we're going to really see Zeke Elliott have a big year. He's come back in phenomenal shape. The line is back intact. So we'll get back to running the football, and we got all those weapons on the outside. So that offense is going to be
Freddie,
prolific.
are you showing how Daniel Jones' arm's hurt from throwing all those picks that he throws? Is that why you're rubbing your arm? Daniel Jones' arm hurt the whole thing?
Hey, Miss T, did you hear that the Cowboys just signed the deal with Shaq with Icy Hot for that shoulder for Dak? You know, because he's going to be doing a lot of years.
And let me ask you this question, though, Freddie. Did your boy Daniel Jones take some dance lessons so he could figure out how to run down the field?
I'll say this about Dallas. When they're on and healthy, that offense is scary. I ain't gonna sit here.
Okay, so here's
I ain't gonna
my
sit
thing.
here in front.
I was so about Dak's shoulder. I had somebody on from Dallas Sports Media. He came onto my show. He's one of my special guest co-hosts, and he's actually friends with the Prescott family. He was telling me like, you know, nothing's wrong, nothing's here to see. And no, but I was like, no. Here's my thing with Dallas people, Dallas media. I'm like, you're just saying that because they're your friends. You're not gonna tell me the truth about his shoulder injury because that's your homeboy.
That was just a bunch of precaution. There's nothing.
Yeah.
But he got an MRI. He got two.
Of course, as a precaution.
You just get MRIs just
as a precaution. As a precaution, that's all that was. He's a full participant in practice.
Listen.
I think he's gonna be okay, but like this is what I'm gonna say on the show this Sunday. I'm gonna tell you guys right now. If Dak Prescott, see, when I was in high school, I wanted to get like a little tiny car, like a Mazda Miata, and I remember my homegirl. She was like, "If you get a Mazda Miata and you get into a car wreck, you gonna die." So I feel the same way about the Dallas Cowboys. Their quarterback depth chart is not that good, and that's like the tiny car that I want to get. If Dak Prescott gets injured, the whole team gonna die. Who's gonna throw the ball to the rest of the offensive players? Unless it's Cam Newton or something like that.
That's any team that has an elite starting quarterback. Like it ain't too many good backup quarterbacks in the league.
Not necessarily.
If your starting quarterback goes down, your team is gonna pretty much be done.
Not too much, but I do feel like there are some teams that do have great QB depth quarterbacks, like for example, the Chicago Bears. Andy Dalton is supposed to be their starter. Their number 2 is Justin Fields, and their number 3 is Nick Foles, who won a championship. So that quarterback depth chart is already good. So why not?
I'm surprised he hasn't got released.
Yeah, me too.
Miss T.
Huh.
Don't worry. They're gonna follow the quarterback. Don't get hurt no matter what. It's gonna happen no matter what.
I don't want Dak to get hurt. That's one of my favorite.
I'm talking about the Cowboys falling.
Honestly, let's just say Dak stays healthy. I really love Dak. That's one of my favorite quarterbacks, just because his character. I've been watching Hard Knocks, and I love him.
That's right.
Yeah, I've been watching all the Hard Knocks. But I feel like. The issue with that team is Mike McCarthy. That's it.
And Jerry Jones.
Let's be honest.
Jerry Jones.
I think as well. Like it's not even. I don't hate Dak Prescott, nothing like that. But I think that team, there's just too many egos that they smashed together, and they were and ever since they got him, they were always trying to massage him. There's more Ezekiel, and they got rid of some of the other ones along the way. But I think the big problem there is Jerry Jones. Watching Hard Knocks really set it off for me. I already had that idea, but watching that he has a button and they report everything to him, that's insane to me. That is insane. Like, what does the coach do? What does the general manager do? What do they do if you do everything? So,
that's been something as Dallas fans we've always like grown about, because I mean Jerry Jones is the president, he's the owner, and he's the GM, all three, and he's even
the coach. He's not no. This is a true story. They call him coach. They don't call him Jerry. They call him coach.
Freddie.
Don't nobody call him
with backup quarterback. They still almost won the division against your Daniel Jones Giants.
No, the Eagles quit. Stop bringing that up.
No, at the end of the day, though, but really, at the end of the day, I mean, it does come down to that division is very poor. We're talking about the poorest division in football. And for Dallas to be the powerhouse on offense on paper of what they have, on paper, there's no other team that I'm going to look at on paper, knowing what I know about football and say, they're better than this, unless we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs or unless we're talking about something like that. But on paper, Dallas Cowboys have the best offense in football.
Yeah. And in 2020, because there are injuries, But in 2019, when they were fully healthy, they were the top offense in the regular season.
Yeah, so
They
for
had
you
the
to be in
great
such a poor
offense on
division,
paper.
Don't waste your times with facts. Don't waste your time with facts. That's just gonna fly right over Freddie's head. Don't even waste your time.
but you know what I'm saying though. I mean, when you're in such a bad division like
You act
that,
like your team is just this dominant team. You've had all this
Nope, I
talent.
never
You've had
said
all
that.
this talent and haven't done
Never
nothing
said
with
that.
it. You have done
Never said
anything,
that.
nothing with it.
hey,
It's so bad.
I will
that
say,
your
hey,
owners coming
can
out.
we end it with
I'm like,
this?
Tony Romo's the Hall
Can
of
we end it
Fame.
with this? Can we end it with this? Red Sea Rise. Let's go Cardinals. Then let's go on.
Man, you just hoping your Cardinals turn into something, man. So stop it.
We ain't hoping for nothing. We turned it into something right before your eyes. Don't worry about us over here. We in NFC West.
You see
Part
this?
of it
Right.
is football,
Please bring
and
up
we are
this comment.
competitive every
Please
year.
bring up this
Okay,
comment.
Stephen A. Smith Jr. Thanks
Cowboys
for
are
recycling
actually waiting to happen.
Thanks for
I
recycling that
agree.
same old Stephen A. comment. Thanks so much. We never.
But is he wrong though? Let's ask the question. Is he wrong? Have you ever lied about
What are you
it?
talking about? 2 years ago, they won the division.
I'm talking about every year. Last
But I'm
year.
just saying, you talking like we've been trash for like the
Y'all
last.
have. With the
And Freddie,
dominance
Freddie,
man of
Can we
the
move
month.
on? Can we move
Freddie,
on?
tell me the year y'all last won the division. I
Thank
can
you.
tell you right now, it's been 10
Thank
years.
you.
When the last time
2011.
you won a
That was
Super
when
Bowl,
y'all went to the
26
Super
years.
Bowl.
I can ask the same question like you can too.
Well. Anyways, we're
Thanks,
moving on.
thanks for being on with us. I'm sorry you have to listen to this nonsense drivel from Freddie, but this is what we have to deal with every Monday and Thursday.
I had a lot of fun with you guys. Thank you guys so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure, and I'm so grateful and honored that you guys invited me on today.
For
Yes,
sure.
ma'am.
All the
Thank
best.
you.
We'll
Thank
definitely
you.
be tuning
Yeah,
in,
thank
following
you.
your career.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Don't forget, I'm going to be dropping my YouTube vlog. I went to cover the Pacquiao Ugas fight this past
Okay.
2 weeks ago. So I'm just vlogging my Vegas trip if you guys want to check that out. And of course, my show is going to be this Sunday. So don't forget to tune in, show me love, share, because the best support is public support when you're in this industry. So if
There
you guys
you
can
go.
comment
No
and
doubt.
share, that would mean the world to me. So thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, folks. The show's just getting started. We're gonna have a quick commercial break, and we're gonna bring the heat.
All right, let's go ahead and get on into it, man. Now that we got it going, Freddie got his little warm up in.
That's all this warm up.
And Freddie got roasted.
Nonsense.
Yeah, it's very got a little warmer. But so we were
Nonsense
talking
salad.
about, since we were just talking about the Cowboys, guys. Let's kind of we'll piggyback off that a little bit. There was a report that Jerry Jones had put out about a week or so ago. He said that in his eyes, Tony Romo is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, I want to know, do you agree with that? We've seen Tony Romo's resume. You know, we've seen great games. We've seen him over time. Can you agree with him on this?
Hell no. Hell no. I'm gonna tell you why. He has the numbers, okay? He do have the numbers. If you look at the stats without looking at the game, he's gonna look like an all-time great quarterback. But when you look at what he's accomplished while playing the quarterback position, 2 playoff wins? 2? No, sir. And then look at the quarterbacks that won in his era. You have Peyton Manning, you have Tom Brady, Big Ben Roethlisberger, and you even have Eli Manning 1 2. Eli Manning. And if you ask me,
but when
I
you say
believe
he
Tom
has
Brady.
the numbers,
Huh?
when you say he has the numbers, I mean, which ones are you referring to? Like, how
Look
do
at
you
the
judge
stats.
that?
Look at
Because he
his
got
stats.
So at least from a Cowboys perspective, he's the all-time leader franchise-wise for passing yards and touchdowns. And those are just 2 of the big ones. He's beat out Troy Aikman and he beat out Roger Staubach for both of those statistics.
I mean, he definitely has a highly decorated career, but he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Eli Manning, Eli Manning to me, Eli Manning's not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
No.
He has a far more decorated resume than Tony Romo, but I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. With all those interceptions that he threw, like to me,
He got to be a Hall of Famer though, Kenny.
No, I didn't say he wasn't a Hall of Famer.
He
I
said just not first ballot.
Hall of Famer.
Now, Kenny, I'm gonna take it a step further with you. Do you think that Tony Romo is a Hall of Famer at all?
I don't know. I guess if you're going by numbers, he probably is going to get in at some point. But I don't know. To me,
He just doesn't have enough decoration.
No, he was just a disappointment as a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Like Freddie said, it was 2 playoff wins in what 12.
He just another Danny White.
No, that's a little disrespectful to me. Like Danny White was, he's not in Tony Romo's class.
No,
so Tony Romo. I think that was a little.
See, now you're going too far.
Yeah,
Tony Romo was
he's the most decorated. Right, he's the most decorated Cowboys quarterback in terms of what he's done for his career.
He just
There's no question about that.
But bro, he lost a job to a rookie quarterback.
Can I finish?
Okay, and he was hurt.
Right, he didn't elevate the team in the playoffs. That's the biggest strike against Tony Romo. Is that he didn't elevate the team in the playoffs, and opportunities that we had to make playoff runs, we didn't get it done.
Yeah.
So like he'll probably get in because not only because of his work as a quarterback, but also his work as an analyst. He's considered, if not the best, one of the best top 2 analysts in the game right now. So I think between that and the football, I think he'll wind up being a Hall of Famer. But if it was just based off him off his playing career, I would say no.
And I want to caveat off of what Freddie said. Your supposed first ballot Hall of Famer Eli Manning got benched for Daniel Jones. I just want to throw that out there.
No. Be factual. You're talking about no. That's not what happened.
No. Hold on, because you can't throw that out there and you even use that as anything. Because every
you're talking about me or Tony?
No, you. Because every great that stands in the quarterback position for as long as these guys that we're talking about have, the only person that that predecesses them is a first-round draft pick typically, or someone they go out and trade to get. So there's it's gonna happen.
That's not right. No, that's not right, Jay. Because let's put this in the situation of, let's say, Russell Wilson. Okay, let's say the Seahawks had a first round quarterback. No, listen, I'm talking. When you have, let's take Russell Wilson for the Seattle Seahawks. Let's say that he's got hurt one year, but they had a quarterback that drafted in the first round. Okay, but guess what? When Russell Wilson come back, his talent is going to say, you know what?
Not what we're talking about.
Russell Wilson back. Tony Romo was not in that situation.
See, because you're leaving out the fact that Tony Romo darn near broke his back.
Because he lost his job because of an injury. He didn't lose his job because of his performance on the field.
But he came back. When he came back,
Jones, they sat Eli Manning for Daniel Jones because he wasn't getting it done.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did.
So why did they sit him for Daniel Jones?
Wins.
That was not the reason why they sat Eli. That was not. They had a bum coach who sat Eli down to see to see what Daniel Jones had, and the next following week, who played again? Eli Manning.
And then what happened? He got sat down again
because the season was over.
So then, what's your point?
He
was not tearing up the league.
I'm replying back to
him because he didn't get sat down because it was a personality conflict.
I'm replying back
because it was time to move on, and he was no longer effective as a quarterback.
I'm not talking about
Bottom line, it wasn't no injury. Like with Romo, it's totally different.
I'm not talking about Eli. I'm talking about what I said about Tony Romo. I'm talking about what Tony said. I mentioned that Tony Romo lost his job to a rookie, and then that's when he said because of injury. That's what I'm saying. If it's a quarterback like Russell Wilson that's producing, and if he came back healthy, that rookie's not going to continue to be their starting quarterback. Jerry Jones and the Cowboys knew that Tony Romo was not that great of quality quarterback anymore.
No, he retired. What are you talking about?
When he came back,
he didn't want to be a backup quarterback.
What are you talking about?
Hold on. Because yelling ain't gonna change his facts.
I'm not yelling. That's the truth.
So listen, when he came back, we saw him in his games, and he did not look the same. He was not.
He didn't come back and play, Jay.
What? Come back.
He didn't come back and play.
He retired. He
He didn't want to
never
come
came
back
back
to
to play.
quarterback.
even when he tried to come back,
He was
even when he
crying.
was
He was
wearing the
crying in the press conference. Jerry Jones was standing practically in tears himself. He never came back to play. So your point
He
makes
didn't
no
want to
sense.
get back to
There was
quarterback.
never an opportunity that Tony Romo was coming back to play football.
No.
He retired.
He thought he was.
After his back injury,
He
his
thought he was
initial
coming back, Jay.
He
No,
was.
listen. After his initial back injury, he came back from that one and he just wasn't the same. And then he got injured further. And after that, bro, it
That's
was
my
a
point.
wrap.
After the second back injury, when they started Dak Prescott, he was not coming back. He retired.
That's
So
not
your
true.
point about Russell Wilson coming back from an injury does
That's
not
not
apply
true.
because he was
That's
not
not true.
coming back from that injury.
That's not true. They
Freddie,
were reports that Jerry Jones wanted him to
Now we're
start.
talking about reports.
Okay.
Now,
We're
yeah.
talking about
Now,
reports or we're
anyways,
talking
that
about
was a
facts?
long time ago. We were talking about reports.
Y'all don't remember this.
So we're gonna move
Freddie
on.
facts.
So now thoughts on Cam Newton. Cam Newton was cut by the Patriots the other day. Mac Jones, we talked about it on Real Talk about a week or two ago about how well Mac Jones looked in the preseason. So I didn't expect the Patriots to cut Cam Newton, but I did kind of feel as if I could see Mac Jones going to start. So seeing that Cam Jones was cut, or Cam Newton was cut, where do we see? Do we see him getting another job out here as a starter, a backup? What teams do you see? Looking at him legitimately. Tony, I'm gonna go with you.
Yeah, we talked about this on Just Say the Truth too. To me, I think, whether or not the Patriots want to admit it or not, I think Bill did a lot of this just out of kind of respect for Cam and to hopefully keep Cam's network and his stock going. I think a lot of it's just going to depend on whether or not he gets vaccinated. His vaccination status is going to be the make or break decision for him on whether or not he even gets to continue an NFL career as they continue to move forward with it. I personally brought up, I think Denver would be a good spot for him. Denver would probably give him some of the best pieces he's had since that Super Bowl run with Carolina. They have a good defense. They have a decent O-line. He's got the wide receiver weapons. He's got a decent tight end and Noah Fant. The running game, a little bit of a question. But with Cam, he helps add to that. I think with what they have in Drew Lock, they don't have what they're looking for. Teddy's more of a game manager. I think that would give him an upgrade. Provided he gets the vaccination thing or whatever figured out with the NFL, I still think, he could potentially go to Washington. Ron Rivera has already ruled that out. I think it's too much of a headache there. And then I know Jerry Jones was wanting to potentially sign him with Dallas, which doesn't to me really fit. But one of the guys on Just Say the Truth mentioned, I think a backup role in Baltimore just to help teach and mentor Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar benefited a lot from having RG3 there as his backup, having been that mobile style quarterback and running. And I think with Cam added in that, I think that would benefit him tremendously. But until he kind of gets the vaccination thing figured out, I don't see Cam, all honesty, continuing to play in the league.
And look who popped up on the show. What's up, man?
I heard you got roasted, bro.
Roasted by who?
He did.
I seen it. Carolina roasted you, bro. You got a taste of that Chicago, didn't you? You got a taste of that Chi-Town, didn't you? You didn't like that, Freddie.
So, Mike, since you popped in, what's your thoughts on Cam? I mean, does he get a second chance anywhere to start? Does he get signed as a backup anywhere? What teams do you see that possibly look out to him?
Tennessee is my favorite. And I'll tell you why.
That's interesting.
It's mad underrated, bro, but they're a Super Bowl contender, whether you like it or not. That offense is nice. That defense is nice. But their QB2 is Logan Woodside, and he has not taken a single NFL snap ever. If something with Ryan Tannehill is to go down in the playoffs, like it has already in preseason with COVID, which Cam wouldn't help to that point because he's not vaccinated. But if he were to get that figured out, you need a QB2, or you're going to end up like my Bears in 06, starting Sexy Rexy at QB1. And losing to Indiana, having Devin Hester be the only person that did anything. You don't want that. You don't want those problems. If you want to be a Super Bowl contender, you got to have a QB2. It's mad important. It's a very underrated position. Take it from my Bears. We have every single QB nobody wants. It's just a perfect scenario. But
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because I mean I'll take an example. Last year, Cardinals, we had one game to win going into the to play to the playoffs,
and I
and
appreciate that because y'all lost and my Bears got in. So thank you.
that was all because Kyle Murray had that shoulder injury. We needed somebody else to start, and we started a guy never started in the NFL before.
It's
So
all good, bro. We got
it.
further than Freddie did.
But no, you're
Why do people
100%
keep taking shots at me, man?
that QB2 position is very
Low-hanging fruit.
important. I think a lot of teams right now are actually taking that importance and bringing it relevance back into the NFL. Because if
Most
you
definitely.
see teams are making moves to get a second quarterback, you know what I mean, and not just riding around with no ammo.
Right. And it's one of those things too. It's like this isn't like okay, well, Cam will get thrown in and we'll just run the ball with Derrick Henry and pray to God Cam doesn't F it up. Like Cam Newton with Julio Jones and AJ Brown, and they have a decent tight end core with Derrick Henry. That's nice, bro. That's nice. And I think it would be really, real special. Of course, Jerry Judy and them boys in Denver, that'd be nice too. Cam gets a little shot back at Carolina for that nasty fall off. I wonder how that relationship would be with him and Von Miller. I think it'd be kind of funny. But it's just one of those things where Tennessee is just my favorite, and I can't tell you why, but it just is. I don't know if Cam would accept that though.
Hey, you want to go to a
That's a good
contender
call.
if you're sitting on the bench, you get a chance to win a title just sitting on the bench. So I like that idea actually, Mike.
Yeah, you know me, Jay. Sometimes every now and then I come through with a little something.
Oh, that's funny. How you feel about it, Kenny?
Yeah, I like that. I like that Tennessee. I also like Nate's idea in terms of the Jets. They could
That'd
use
be
a
nice.
veteran to be behind Wilson. That'd probably be a good look. But of course, Dallas is another option. But I think his days as being a starting quarterback are over. That was one of my hot takes way back when I said that he was done being a starting quarterback, and I think this just put the nail in the coffin. Um, and between the vaccination status, and I don't think that shoulder is totally healthy. Although he had some moments in the preseason, I'm just not sure if he's totally healthy, and he's in his 30s now. So all that wear and tear and all of that, all of that running that he did and the physical style of quarterbacking that he did, I
Yeah,
think it's caught up to him.
yeah.
So I think his only way of hanging on in the league is going to be as a backup. So that's going to be the question: will he be willing to humble himself and take the opportunity? I think I like the Tennessee one as the best look for him, because just imagine him in the RPOs with Henry, like RPOs, and then throwing the ball downfield to Julio Jones into that receiving core that they have there. Like that could be an interesting scenario. So I think I'm with Mike that I like that Tennessee look for Cam, but his days as being a starting quarterback are over.
Yeah.
Kenny, Freddie.
I disagree with Kenny. There's one team that needs a starting quarterback.
The
and
New
if-
York Giants.
Say the Giants.
I'm not saying the Giants.
I mean, they
yeah.
do, but it's just.
Man, hey, I'm tired of y'all taking shots at my team. Let me answer the question. I tell them to be quiet the whole time. It's my turn. Let y'all zip it. Please. Thank you. There's one team that needs a starting quarterback that can actually help them win this division. And that's the Washington football team. When you're talking about you need a quarterback that give you something on the offensive end, hey, we all know Fitzmagic is going to be up one week and he's going to be down one week. He's going to be up one week and he's going to be down one week. We know that. That's who he is. But what I'm saying is, you bring in Cam. Cam can help. And let's be honest, he didn't lose. He didn't get released by the Patriots because he didn't play good in preseason. He
did have some good moments. But to me, though, real quick, I think that was kind of messed up that they waited so late to release him, because he pretty much, never really has a chance to really catch on with another team. Like, team's rosters, 53-man rosters is set. So I think that was kind of foul of Belichick.
I think it was wrong too, Kenny. I feel like
cool.
I feel like at especially this year, with the COVID testing and the way that you have to introduce yourself into a new organization, you can't do it the way we have in the past.
Right.
I think you have to give him time. You have to give him a week before the preseason ends so that he has a little bit of that.
Yeah, at
So
least that
Right.
last week of the preseason. At least
I
For
give them
agree.
me,
that.
for me,
Yeah.
it was like
On
it was
cut
more
day,
Bill. It was more Bill
Yeah,
for
that's
me.
a foul,
you ain't
man.
no third stringer. You ain't no rookie.
Right.
You ain't
Treat
Right.
no
him like,
sixth
oh
This
my
is
round
God.
pick.
MVP.
It's
Right.
100%
That's
due to that vaccination.
disrespectful.
I don't care what Bill Belichick say because he didn't
Oh,
look
I
bad
think
in the
it definitely played
preseason.
a role in it. I totally agree with you.
I
Now,
also
now
feel
let me
like
ask
it was
let
a
me
part of
ask you
like
this because I'm gonna come first to you, Mike. But we were gonna talk about Tannehill. Is Tannehill right for the Titans?
Tannehill is a short-term solution with a long-term problem. Like I feel like Tannehill is as good as his accuracy is going to be. But the second his accuracy and his age starts showing, it's going to be a problem because you're going to have a team full of more weapons than a gun shop and no bullets in them because Ryan Tannehill's getting older and he can't get it done. Like that's how I truly see it. I liked Marcus. I liked Marcus Mariota. I felt like he just needed a little bit more time to develop and a little bit more weapons, and this would have been perfect for him. It's also why I like the Cam stuff because Cam Newton's play style is very similar to Marcus Mariota, so I feel like they're not too far off with if something were to happen to Ryan, that they would be able to find ways to run Cam through this offense in a similar way they did when Mariota and Tannehill coexisted. So I definitely think these two can coexist. I don't really like Ryan Tannehill, and it's not really based off. He's just like your average quarterback, and it's not like there's no shots at him. He's talented. He's a great individual, a great talented player, but he's not fun to watch. You know, I don't wake up on Sundays and go, man, I can't wait to watch Ryan Tannehill sling that ball down the field. No, I want to see Patrick Mahomes. I want to see Josh Allen. I want to see Lamar Jackson. So for me, like he's definitely a short-term solution. He could take you there, but I wouldn't. That's not a franchise move.
Kenny?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he's a solid quarterback, but he's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Like he's not the guy that's going to put that team over the top. Because we talk about this all the time. Is that at the end of the day, you got to have that quarterback that when you're down, down six in the 2 minute drill in the fourth quarter, you need that quarterback that's going to lead your team down the field and lead you to a victory. And if that's the case, do you really have confidence in Ryan Tannehill doing that? No. And I think that's the problem is that he's just not the guy that you believe that's going to lead your team to the promised land. So he's a solid quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. And I think, your best player, of course, your best player is Derrick Henry. And unfortunately, we're going to get to the point where now, and I think it's a great point that Mike makes, is that they're going to have to make a decision because this guy's in his prime now. And so, you bring in Julio Jones, and that basically says you're in win now mode. So you're going to have to make a decision, I think, after this season to figure out whether or not that Ryan Tannehill is a long-term solution because you don't want to waste Derrick Henry prime years because we know the lifespan of a running back in the NFL. So they're going to really have to decide, I think, after this year whether or not they're going to continue with Ryan Tannehill as a
Hi there, I'm Cortana, and I'm here to
he's
help.
the guy.
A little science.
Yeah. So I mean, that I agree with you too. The one thing I'll say is in Tennessee, I think they're kind of set up for Tannehill because in Tennessee you got Derrick Henry who can control the football, control the clock once they get up and get a lead, and probably one of the best at it in the league right now for that. But then they went out and they got Brown, they got Julio. They got a decent tight end set, and with that, I think that Tannehill is kind of what everyone wanted Kirk Cousins to be,
Yeah,
and I think that Tannehill will be able to be that quarterback for him, kind of like Trent Dilfer to me.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
think
they're the
Trent.
same guy. Him and Cousins are the same guy. They're
I
gonna.
don't think so.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
the
think
difference
Kirk
between the
Cousins
two
went to a
is,
Super Bowl either.
but I think the difference between Tannehill and Cousins is Tannehill will make the big play.
right. I think I agree with Jay. Like from watching Kirk, in Minnesota. Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, a great tight end core.
Yeah.
For me,
But
it's
they never
you
made a
don't have
playoff
the
run.
balls to get it done, and Ryan does. Like Ryan will make those throws. Kirk's more hesitant to make those throws. He'll hand it off to Dalvin. Like he don't want those
But
problems. You know
they've
what I
never made a playoff run since he's been in Minnesota. So like
No.
that's
But
why
no,
I
no,
say
no,
to
no,
me they're the same
and that's what
guy.
I'm saying, Kenny. No, I agree with you, but I'm sprinkling on top that I think the difference is Tannehill will make that pass that Kirk Cousins won't make.
He has that
Tannehill
QB1
will.
mentality.
He does have that he can turn it on.
Yeah, I don't see it.
We'll
But
see
for
it
me,
this year.
I wanted to
I don't
ask
see it
Jay,
either.
This year with Julio out there on the outside. Watch.
right? But Jay, I wanted to ask you, like, and Freddie too, because I know Freddie's been following him for a while as well. It's one of those things where, how much better is this team if you got Julio Jones, Derek's in his prime, you got AJ doing his thing. If you put Marcus Mariota back on this team and Ryan Tannehill's gone, is it
No.
really any different? It's really not, and that's
It
why
goes downhill.
Yeah, because it gets
that's
worse.
why
I think
say
you take a
he's
step
not
back.
a long-term solution.
I think you take a step back because the thing to me is Tannehill doesn't turn the ball over.
Right.
Yeah, he's just a glorified game manager.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going to say he's a game manager. That's who he is. But you need another quarter. We've seen quarterbacks just winning Super Bowls right now. It's not game managing quarterbacks. We've seen quarterbacks in the fourth quarter, 2 minutes left in the game. If we need you to make big plays, they can depend on you. I'm not sure Ryan is that type of quarterback. Let's say if the Tennessee Titans got a Deshaun Watson. What's your thoughts on the Titans then? What is your thoughts on that team then? With the
They
Hill,
go to the
with
Super
the
Bowl.
Julio Jones, with the Brown, with the tight end set. What is your thoughts about them then?
And I think that's what Tennessee understands. So that's why Tennessee went and got a Julio and got a couple of other guys to make it easier on Tannehill. Because
yeah, but still, he still got to make the plays.
Like, right, you shouldn't have to do that, bro. And coming from me, bro, a Bears fan, we gave Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall, Matt Forte, Alshon Jeffrey, Martellus Bennett, Zach Miller, all these other cats, bro. We were giving it to him. We were a decent O-line.
And it's a great defense, bro.
At the end of the day, it's up to Jay to throw that ball. So you're only going to go as far as he can throw him, and I don't think Ryan can throw him that far by himself.
Real quick, can we bring that score back up on the screen, please? Ooh, boy, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, I just think that
him,
to me, it's three of them that's in the same category. Tannehill, Cousins, and Jimmy G. Like you can put them all in the hat and put their names in the hat, and you pick out one. It's all the same guy to me.
Right.
They're lame duck quarterbacks, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they're game managing quarterbacks, you know. And all I'm saying is, the last couple of Super Bowls we've seen, they're not game managing quarterbacks. We've seen with the 49ers with Jimmy G.
Got to make plays, win games.
Yeah. So.
All right. So moving along, what team is one quarterback away though from being a Super Bowl contender? Damn. I guess so. Well, we can power through that one. No, but seriously, I mean, you guys are right.
I mean, you could say you could also say Miami as well. You know, because
I was thinking about them earlier, but I still see some holes.
I think I'm a believer in Tua. I think he's going to have a really good year this year. But you can say that about Miami as well. I think those two for sure.
My number one team is Indianapolis.
Ooh. Oh, so you're not a Carson Wentz fan.
It's not even about Carson Wentz. It's about them last year. I'm taking it from last year without Carson Wentz playing, because we still don't really know his status. Let's be honest. Even though they took him off the COVID list. Yeah, they took him off it, but we haven't seen him.
Hey, they took him off it, but he'll go right back on just like that.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean.
So COVID, but it gets hurt another way.
But assuming he plays well, then yeah, they mark this off the list. But I still think that team is built and ready to go. If they had a quarterback like a Deshaun Watson, like we were talking about, if they had a difference maker at that position, that team is Super Bowl bound. Look what they did with Phillip Rivers, and he couldn't throw past 30 yards last year.
Yeah. Okay. I want you guys to follow me on this one, okay? Don't interrupt me, just follow me. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. This year only, do you guys believe Green Bay Packers are a Super Bowl contender? Not saying they're gonna win it, but a contender.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you guys believe the Green Bay Packers have more weapons than the New York Giants?
That's not saying
Yes.
much, but yes.
Yes.
You think the Packers have more weapons
Yeah.
than? Okay, I'm done talking. Then we're gonna move to the next person.
No. Look. I'll say two things. I don't.
When you
think.
say weapons, do you mean
Or do they have
offensively?
better weapons? Do they
I'm
have
talking
more?
about receivers, tight ends, running.
Right. So are you saying that? So you're saying that the Giants' weapons are better than Green Bay's weapons?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's your opinion.
And with
I-
more, they have
No.
more wideouts than Green Bay. I mean,
No.
No. So two
they
things.
do,
I don't-
Jay. I can yell at you
Devontae
too.
Adams and
Yeah, no. So two things. So I don't think Green Bay's a contender because that defense is still suspect to me at best. I've never been trusting Green Bay's defense. To me, it's still not. And I'll say this as to why I think Green Bay has a better offensive weapons than the Giants do. Kenny Galladay is good when he's healthy. Evan Ingram has all the talent and all the potential in the world.
bunch of
Evan Ingram has
questions.
not lived up to that potential. Kyle Rudolph is old. He was let go by Minnesota. Again, Kyle Rudolph in his prime, one of the best tight ends in the league. But
You like
old.
that, don't you?
He's in.
Saquon
Aaron
Barkley
Jones.
question.
Aaron Jones. I've seen Aaron Jones. What one real
Sterling
season? Had a
Shepard
good year.
question.
Yeah.
It's a bunch
Sterling
of question
Shepard.
marks on that Giants team.
Yeah. Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is a true number one receiver. You could argue he's probably the best wide receiver in the league, and
In
he
the
is
game.
consistently healthy.
You know what else they got?
Y'all got blinders on. Y'all can't see
No.
us.
You want to know what else
That's why
they
I'm not
got?
gonna debate it.
Speaking
That's why I'm
facts.
not gonna debate it. That's not facts. No, it's not.
Who got the
Because this
better
is what
offensive
y'all
line?
do. Y'all
Right.
get the
Who has the better offensive line, Freddie?
the Packers.
Who has
All
the
right
better
then.
receiving core?
I can say the Giants. They
No,
have more
I didn't
receivers.
ask you, can you?
They have more
I
receivers
said,
than the
who
Packers,
has
Jay.
the
More
better
question
The
receiving
marks.
Giants.
core?
The
You got more
Giants.
question marks, not
The
more
Giants.
receivers. More
You don't
question
believe
marks.
that.
I do
So
believe
moving
that.
More
on.
question
I
marks.
do.
Anyways,
Listen,
we're moving on.
no, I'm
We're
tired of
going
getting
into
cut
our
off.
NBA
No, I'm
segment.
getting tired of cutting off. I'm about to say what I gotta say.
Then
I'm
say
about
it.
to say what I'm about to say, damn it. Now listen. When I look at the receiving core, yes, Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver for both teams, okay? For both teams.
In the game.
I'm talking about two teams. I'm not talking about the game. That's
Go
debatable
ahead. Look ahead.
for both teams. But the Giants have more depth at the wide receiver position than the Packers do. Okay, Saquon Barkley is better than Aaron Jones. Than Aaron Jones. Let's face it, he's better than Aaron
Who's
Jones.
been on the field more in the last 3 years?
Correct.
I-
You
I-
got
I-
it.
Who's
listen,
been on the
Listen,
field more
I
in the last 3
understand the
years?
depth.
That's my question.
Yeah, no. I understand the
Aaron
depth.
Jones
I
been
don't
more
care about
healthy.
talent. I don't care about talent. We all, the whole saying goes, the best ability is
But the
available.
last time we saw Saquon Barkley, he was still producing. So we got to go
He
to the
played
last
2
time we
games,
see.
man. Not
Yeah,
the
and I think I might know where Jay is going with this. I agree with the depth. I think if you're looking at it from like 2 and 3, right? You got Sterling Shepard, you got
can't
Slate.
stay healthy.
They're both solid number 2 and number 3 receivers. If Galladay is your number 1, that already
Coming
to
off
me is
an
what
injury.
makes me
Who
suspect.
said he's our number
Galladay-
one?
Huh?
Tell me, who said he's our number one? We have a
Who's your
rookie.
number one?
We have a rookie
Oh,
wide
you're
receiver
right.
that can turn into be our number one. It can be just as good. We
Oh,
got to see what he's going to turn
let's
out to
move on.
be.
Let's move on.
We
You
don't know
don't
what
go out
he's
there
The
and
fact that
sign
you
that free
said,
agent. You
the
don't go out
fact
and
that you
sign
said
a
your
big
rookie,
free agent
your
like that.
your first round draft pick is your number one receiver, that ends this
We
conversation.
could be.
That
There's
ends
nothing
the
to even talk
conversation.
about.
That ends the
There's nothing to
conversation.
talk
They don't even
about.
compete with the Packers wide receiver core if that's their first round, if that's their number one.
I would take Allison and all them second and third Green Bay guys before you
No,
talk
you
about
wouldn't.
them. Rookie, get out of
No,
here.
you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
Well, now that we got that out of our systems, let's move on to NBA, guys. And before we do that,
hold up.
let's go ahead and take
Where
another
everybody at?
commercial break.
Hold up, Jay. I ain't letting that one slide. I ain't letting it slide. I know the gods turned my mic off and wouldn't let me say what I wanted to say. It ain't happening. It's being said. Freddie, I'm going to give it to you. Green Bay's offensive line is not better than the Giants right now. Right now, and nobody talks about it. It's underrated. They lost their starting center, their starting left tackle, and their right guard is out with a season-ending injury. Ron, you better run for your life because Khalil Mack is back.
And this is why I was like, why?
And he's coming, and we coming for that ass.
Now, let me ask you
Daniel Jones,
Let me ask
do
you
your
this.
thing.
Let me ask you this,
Aaron
Mike.
Rodgers will be a
you
New
guys,
York
you
Giant.
see them twice a year, Mike. You guys see them twice a year. Is that receiving core better than the Giants' receiving core? Let's be honest.
What, I'll be honest. Do they have? If you put all those players in a room, who has the best? It's the Packers. But
thank you. That's all we saying.
But you bring in Kenny Galladay. You have Slayton. Barkley can catch. You have I don't know if it's Ingram or Engram, but he's a tight end.
You have Shepard as a still wide receiver.
Here's
A
my
lot of
thing,
question
though.
marks.
You really only have Adams, and then you know Vladimir's
exactly.
You bring in an old Randall Cobb. It's not that.
DBG.
Here's what I'll say: you have a great receiver
GVS,
core in
what
Green Bay because of Aaron Rodgers. Now, if you flip
And
the script,
Adams,
respectfully,
Jones.
if you flip the script and you put Daniel Jones on that Green Bay offense and Aaron Rodgers
ain't going nowhere.
Right. If you put
Don't
you put Aaron Rodgers on the Giants, I would say, wow, Galladay. You know what I mean?
Beautiful.
You know what I'm trying to say though? Like depth-wise, maybe the Giants.
And that's what I was saying though. But you know,
they didn't hear me. I said that.
We're gonna end it with this though. The difference here is the Giants need the depth because they have injury-prone players.
Right.
What injury-prone players do they have?
Green Bay's wide receivers stay on the
half
field.
of your team, half of your
Green Bay's
offense
wide receivers
coming
stay
up
on
for
the field.
injuries.
You worry about bum shoulder Dak Prescott. Don't worry about
Anyways, moving on. All right, so now let's move into the NBA segment. But before we do this time, let's go ahead and cut to commercial. All righty. So again, guys, you guys can catch us on Roku, streaming live on the Fox D network. Real Talk every Monday and Thursday. But now, like jumping straight into our NBA segment, it was reported earlier LaMarcus Aldridge has been cleared to play basketball again. So now the veteran is already talking about going back to the New Jersey Net or the Brooklyn Nets. I'm sorry. What do you guys feel about that? Will it make an impact? Will it change anything for the Nets and the outcome of what we have for them in the season? I'll go with you first, Tony.
I mean, for me, I think it would make a little bit of an impact. I mean, he was a great player. I remember watching when he had to retire, especially when it was kind of when the Nets were kind of up and coming to start with just a few years ago before they got Kyrie, before they got KD, and it was unfortunate to see that dynamic of a change from the Nets to go to that. I mean, if you're looking at it from a realistic perspective, if you want to build a team that's going to be able to match, and Freddie's going to love to hear this, if you want a team that's actually going to be able to match what the Lakers have, you're going to need that extra guy. And if he is able to play, if he's able to bring what he was able to bring a couple years ago, especially being healthy, being able to get physically right, mentally right, hopefully taking care of the irregular heartbeat that he's having, I think it will be tremendously beneficial to Brooklyn. The only thing is I just wonder how those personalities are going to mesh because you already got three big personalities with KD, Kyrie, and James Harden.
Right.
So that's the only thing I got questions on. But I think helping the Nets, I think for sure, and especially if they're going to compete in the championship against another super team like the Lakers.
Now I want to switch over to Kenny on this one. Kenny, because you were talking about the other day, because we were just talking about DeAndre Jordan. Them looking to cut DeAndre Jordan, is that playing a factor in them looking at LaMarcus coming back and bringing him in, or is that one of the reasons why they're looking at cutting DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah, it's there's no question about it. I think one of the challenges or the issues that the Nets have is their front court depth. So they also signed Paul Millsap today. So I think that they're trying to add some depth to that front court, and because of all of the other guys that they have are pretty young. The Charles Claxtons and the Reggie Perrys. All those guys are really young. So I think they want to add some veteran depth in terms of that front court, and because they're set in terms of the back court. And I think that was also losing Jeff Green. That was a pretty he
Big
was a
hit.
great fit for that team. So I
Yeah.
think bringing in Paul Millsap as well as talking about now bringing back LaMarcus Aldridge, because when he played with them, he was a good fit. He played well. In those games that he did play with them, he played well. And I think him coming off the bench, giving you that scoring punch off the bench. You put him with Blake Griffin, you know what I'm saying, and you bring those guys as scoring punch off the bench, then you really got something to work with. Because I think that Claxton's going to wind up moving into the starting lineup because like I said the other day,
He deserves it.
yeah, and DeAndre Jordan, I think his days pretty much are numbered in terms of him being an NBA player.
Hey, my Bulls will take him.
No,
Now,
no,
let
I
me
was
ask
telling
you
him the
this,
other day, like there's some serious things that he's dealing with that I think
with
is
his
going to
heart
wind
and
up.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't get into that. I don't know for sure, but I do
Yeah.
know that there's definitely some personal things that he's
Yeah,
dealing
without a
with
doubt.
that's going to affect his career. So that's the only reason why that
Yeah.
that he may not be back next year.
Now switching over to you, Mike. I mean, seeing that we had LaMarcus with the injuries, we have DeAndre leaving there. Do we have any reservations on how he's going to come back and what type of LaMarcus Aldridge we're going to get?
For me, it's y'all can hear me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. For me, it's one of those things where you're gonna get what you see, and you're gonna get it when they're ready for him to do it. And I don't think they're gonna rush him. Obviously, Freddie's gonna love when I say it. The East isn't the West at the end of the day because of the fact that LeBron James is gone, because of the fact that so many other guys are gone. And it's a big fact to me that at the end of the day, the Nets are going to be in the playoffs no matter what. So LaMarcus Aldridge can, with all due respect, cannot play a single game if he doesn't want to. He can ride that bench the entire thing. He can coast it and just play in the playoffs when he feels like he's ready. And I would trust him to do so. And I would, because of his resume and because of what he's done throughout the years in this league, I have no problem with that. If you feel like maybe my health, maybe I can't do an 82 game season and the playoffs, expecting a finals run, which is the deepest you can go. After already having whatever issues he was dealing with, as well as Kenny, I can't get into that. But whatever those were, it was some serious stuff to the point where I'm going to end my career because I can't do this. So you get what you get. And honestly, no matter what you get, it's better than the alternative of, signing a Boogie Cousins or something along those lines where you just know you're not going to get your bang for your buck. And I would trust LaMarcus if anything. I think at some point we are going to see him. What version of that, I don't know, especially with as many bodies as they have on this, starting five. But I don't think he needs to be that guy. I think that's the best part about it is, it's not strenuous.
That's what makes it
on his
easier
body.
for him to transition into it after spending that time
Right.
and doing that.
Right. So, okay, LaMarcus come up here, take a couple shots a game, and that's it, really.
Yeah, he can be that Udonis Haslam type of role. That,
There you go.
Like Miami.
There you go.
Give a few
I like that a lot.
spot minutes here and there. They don't need them necessarily to, because I think you make a great point, Mike, that he doesn't necessarily have to play every night. He can, play a couple games a week. If he plays half the season, just to make sure he keeps his win and keeps his timing. You know what I'm saying? I think they use him with spot minutes, if at all.
Right.
Now, Freddie, to you, I know that you kind of heard Mike dabble in it that the West is going to be better than the East because of LeBron's left. Those players are left over there. Tony even kind of alluded to the fact that this deal has a lot to do with the big men in the West as well. Do you think that them calling out to LaMarcus has more to do with keeping up with the Joneses as far as the Lakers are concerned, or is it bringing LaMarcus in because they need that position more to fill?
Listen, first off, prayers for him coming back. Deal with your heart. That's always a big deal. You don't want nobody ever dealing with that. Okay. Shout out for him to, find the doctors and do whatever it takes to get back to the sport to play again. Okay. Number two, Mike, I disagree with you. I actually think the East is stronger than the West this year. Just because of
You think so?
Kawhi's hurt. Jamal Murray's down for the Nuggets. I mean, look at the Bulls team, look at the Miami team. Yeah, I think the East is going to be the first year. The East is not going to be as weak as it normally is. But to answer your question, Jay, no, I don't believe they got Paul Millsap nor Marcus Aldridge for the Lakers. Because they did not fix the needs that they need. They need a big man. I understand, you got Claxton, how you say his name, but that's the only true big man that you have that can protect the paint. And he's still young. I mean, they need the big man that can do anything.
They got another young big Perry. He's
He's
okay,
nice,
so
but he ain't gonna take you there in the big time.
exactly.
No. But again,
if I need somebody to defend, they need somebody who can defend Anthony Davis. They don't have that person on that team. Giannis can score on that team with will. Let's just be honest. So to me,
the fact of the matter is, as much as Giannis was able to score, it took a miracle for them not to lose that Game 7.
I agree. But when you're playing against the Lakers team, that's going to be a whole different thing. It's not Milwaukee. You have three guys that can make it happen. But what I'm saying is that team being small, you're asking a lot for Kevin Durant to be that post defensive player. We know KD can go in the post and defend, but do you want to at least go? You're asking a lot for him to do that. I'm not sure.
I'm okay with them. I'm okay with them against AD because AD drifts in and out. He doesn't really post up like that. I'll be more concerned about with a guy, like Giannis or Embiid. Guys like that play with the basket.
I will say
concerned with AD.
But the Lakers see that as an advantage. They put AD in the post. They gonna do that, and they gonna foul you guys out.
That's my point. Is that AD doesn't really like to operate in the post like that. He doesn't play with his back to the basket like that.
Not as much as you think he should.
Yeah, he likes to face up. He likes the mid post. He likes to put it on the floor.
He's still need a big guard.
He's not playing with his back to the basket like that.
He still need a big guard. What about Dwight Howard? I mean,
but to Freddie's point is nobody can guard AD right now. The only person in AD's way against the Nets is AD. Like that's just a fact.
Yeah.
Like is his health.
If he's healthy, they're in trouble.
He's bodying them.
But I also
think it could go back the same way. Like because if you're putting LeBron on him, then you got the potential of putting him into foul trouble. So
without a doubt,
you have to guard him back too. So that could go back and forth. If that's
so real quick, we'll stay right here in Brooklyn. I want to go to you first, Freddie. I think this is going to be one of those round robin type of questions. This should be very simple. Kyrie for Ben Simmons.
I would do it 7 days out the week. And I'm going to tell you what, it makes both teams better. It makes both teams better. What do we say about Brooklyn? They're not that great of a defensive team. You bring in Ben Simmons, that will shore up the defense. That will relieve pressure off James Harden where he don't have to worry about facilitating. He doesn't forget to get his buckets. That frees up James Harden where he can just get buckets. Kevin Durant can be the catch and shoot guy, being efficient to get his shots where he wants to. And then look on the Philadelphia 76ers side. It will make it so much easier for Joel Embiid. All he got to say, okay, Kyrie, get us a bucket. He can get it on the inside, he can get it on the outside.
Thank you.
That can finally be like that Kobe and Shaq type deal where Joel Embiid, guess what? He can pass it to Kyrie Irving, who can handle his business. And let's stop this narrative because I heard somebody say on one show they're talking bad about Kyrie Irving. Yes, he might be away from games or might miss time for whatever reason, but when it comes to the big moment, Kyrie Irving is always available. I don't care what hashtag that you put on there. I'm freaking facts. It might not be facts to you, but it's facts. I don't give a damn. But Kyrie Irving will get. He always shows up in the biggest moments, and he knocks down the biggest buckets. It's pretty facts. So that's just what I believe in. I believe it makes both teams better.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna make it quick and easy on my response. No, 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 and no. There's no way that if I'm the Brooklyn Nets,
Thank you, Jay.
I trade Kyrie Irving for any package that is built around Ben Simmons for Kyrie Irving exchange. And I'll tell you something else. I'll go a step further. If I'm the commissioner of the NBA, I'm pulling a Chris Paul. I'm pulling a Chris Paul.
Vetoing the deal.
I'm telling you, I am pulling a Chris Paul.
Oh man, that's
There's
hilarious.
no way. I couldn't do that on 2K. I couldn't do it on 2K. There's no way that
I will say they do that. My Lakers better be scared.
Who better be scared?
The Lakers better be scared. They got Ben Simmons.
If Brooklyn did that,
playing 4-on-5.
Listen.
You know, he's a great defensive player. That's what they're missing, Jay. That's what they got scores. They gonna score with the best of them. You're not gonna stop them scoring. You're not. But if you
making my head hurt right now. Listen. Okay, time out. Put your phone down. Okay.
But you got to look at the chemistry and how well he would actually fit with that team. And yeah, defensively, sure, he's great.
Beyond chemistry, have you watched? Did you watch the Brooklyn Nets last year?
I watched with my 2 eyes and my glasses. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm glad you did because
you see how easy they played off each other and how easy they were able to score with those 3 guys.
What about defense?
What about defense? You win by outscoring your opponent.
But who's the
defense win championships, Kenny and Jay?
Who is the defensive problem on that team?
James Harden, Kyrie Irving.
Are you getting rid of James Harden?
No. You bring in a Ben Simmons, he's going to take up a lot of their problems.
Who's the second defensive problem on that team?
Kyrie Irving.
You're crazy. It's the big man.
I'm not crazy.
Are you fixing the big man spot?
Throw this whole segment away.
He can help.
You crazy.
Let me ask you a question. Jay, let me ask you a question. So, wasn't there people talking about LeBron don't play defense?
Nobody.
No.
Okay, yes, they was, but okay. See, y'all years ago, bro. Y'all want to move it.
No. What people said about LeBron is he picks his spots when he plays defense.
That's what I asked.
That's the same thing that most pros do in the league.
That's what I just asked.
In today's time.
That's
these games are 110, 120 points. Ain't nobody locking nobody down these days. So that whole defense having needed defenders, it's a load of crap.
And you act like Kyrie Irving is a defensive liability. You act as if Kyrie Irving's a defensive liability. He's far from it. Secondly, putting Kyrie Irving, taking him off that team and putting a Ben Simmons in that position would totally change the whole aspect and dynamics of the squad. It would not be the Brooklyn Nets that we see today, and they would not have the same firepower that they have going on the court.
Yes, they would. No, they wouldn't. You see how many points that Ben Simmons create for all the other players? He will make it so much easier. Easier.
No, James Harden is the primary ball handler. That's the way it's supposed to be.
That's the problem.
No, that's not.
No. And if that's the case, if he's doing so well in scoring and defense, why does Philly even want to get rid of him?
Exactly.
Because he can't handle the media in Philadelphia.
So you mean to tell me that he's going to now go from Philly not handling the media in Philly, and he's going to handle the media in New York?
He won't have to handle it. He won't have to handle that because he won't be the best player on that team. Kevin Durant will.
Oh, so he's not got to deal with no media in New York.
Wait,
not like
so you trying to hide him underneath Kevin Durant?
That's it. That's exactly what he's trying to do.
Moving on. All right. Way too early.
You know what? Since Chris not on this show, y'all want to double team on me. That ain't gonna happen.
No. Today you have been off your rocker.
Your Freddie
Anyways,
on another
way
level
too early defensive player pick of the year. Go ahead, Freddie.
Anthony Davis. It's finally time that this man get the respect that he deserves. He should have won it a few years ago. But I think this year he knows he has to be the anchor on this team for defensive wise. And I believe that he's going to do whatever he can do to get to win that award this year.
I actually like that pick, though. If Anthony Davis stays healthy, he has a he has a high possibility this year of doing that. I mean, let's think about it. He has perimeter defenders out there for him with Russell and LeBron out there now. Carmelo's going to be out there helping out as well. So he's going to be able to help play more help defense down low. And I think he's going to have a little bit more mismatches. They're going to be able to pick and choose when they want to play him on the 4 or in the 5 position now. So I do think that that's not a bad pick. I actually, there's no surprise here. I went with Giannis. I think him winning the championship last year or this year, coming back, I think he's going to have a fire lit underneath him to be more dominant. And I honestly think that, looking at that playoff run, Giannis is not the offensive player that we think he is. I think it's more of other players not doing their homework and not playing, methodical against him. Because he doesn't have a bag. He don't have a big old bag of tricks to go into. And once you cut him off from certain things. And so I think he's stepping up on the defensive end more than ever.
Real quick before I let anybody else go, my second up for defensive player of the year is Draymond Green. I believe that he's going to have like one of his best defensive years this year for the Golden State Warriors. They have the offense, they have Steph, Clay coming back, Wiggins, but I believe Draymond is going to be the anchor on defensive odds for that team, like he is always. But I think this year it's going to really stand out, with Golden State coming back, winning games, and, he's going to get a little bit more recognition as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tony, what you thinking?
I mean, that is interesting. I could kind of see where Freddie's coming from, at least with Draymond. My only question is the age, and we've kind of seen like his performance kind of like go down. Now, don't get me wrong, if Draymond does, hey, he's just going to reestablish himself as one of those great players. But I kind of agree with what you said, Jay. I see more of Giannis. Giannis is one of these few players, and it may be a lot just due to the fact that he's young, that he can do it on both sides of the ball. He can be great offensively when he wants to, when he turns it up, but he can also be a great defensive player, and he plays from the end of the court to the other end of the court. So, I mean, to me, I agree with you 100%. I think getting that championship, getting that finally off of his back, that he has a ring to cement himself, no matter how his career finishes, he can cement himself as one of the best players in the game. And I think with just another defensive title, that's just going to help cement that even more. So I would see Giannis. I would kind of root a little bit for Draymond, but I see Giannis more than anybody.
Kenny?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm gonna go with the GOAT. The GOAT defender. No, let me stop playing. Draymond Green. The GOAT. No, let me stop. No, for real. Actually, I'm going with the other guy. I'm going with the other guy in the Bucks. I'm going with Drew Holiday. I think Drew Holiday is going to be the defensive player with my way too early pick. I think he guards the position that has the most, the hardest position to guard in the league. Night in and night out, the point guard position is the toughest. That's probably the deepest position in terms of long nights in the arena every night that you got to deal with is that point guard position. Because to me, this league is the point guard era in terms of being the most dangerous.
I disagree.
That's because you don't know basketball, but that's besides the point.
No, I'm speaking facts.
Yeah, Freddie facts. But
Wait,
anyway,
you disagree that this is the guard era?
You don't think that the point guard is the deepest position in the NBA right now?
You have Dame, you have Kyrie. Now, I believe it's more. Look at the last championships. The players who won championships. They're small forwards. Okay, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's small forwards. Stop it. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, but you know what?
You named good guys.
But you know what?
I'm talking about that's winning championships. What's important?
Wait, Giannis had who?
The question is, who is
Giannis had who?
The deepest.
Who was the bigger factor, Jay? Who?
No. That wasn't the question. Giannis did not win. He couldn't win the championship till he got a real point guard. He went out and got Drew. He won the championship. LeBron had LeBron. Hold on. LeBron had Kyrie. LeBron just went to go get Russ. Dude,
Well, you see, it's funny how
CP3
you
just had
skip.
the greatest
It's
push.
funny how you skipped the championship before. It's funny how you skipped that, Jay. Change the narrative when y'all get ready to. See, that's why I like you change the narrative. I'm gonna start changing the narrative. And
There ain't no narrative. These are just the facts. The point guard is the deepest position in the NBA
it
right
is
now.
deep. You're
That's no
right.
question.
I didn't say
What
it
are you
wasn't
talking
deep.
about?
I said the small forward is the most important position right now.
That's
I
not
didn't
what
say
I
it was the
said.
deepest.
I said the point guard is the deepest
And I
position.
agree
That's the
with you.
hardest position that you have to guard night in and night out
I agree with you
in
on
the
that.
league. That's what
And
I
you said
said.
you disagreed.
Right.
I disagree. I don't believe that's the most important position right
That's
now.
not
I
what he
didn't say
said.
that. I said
Can
it's
I
the
ask a
deepest.
question?
Yeah, I
Yes,
misheard
sir.
you. I'm sorry. I misheard that. I'm sorry.
Like, clean them Tootsie Rolls out your ear.
Jay, what was the question? Were you guys? I was watching the stream. My computer tweaked out. Was who was talking about Draymond's the GOAT defender? Was that
Yeah,
my
that was
boy?
a joke.
Nah, I
No, he
know.
was
But
joking. He was
were we
joking.
talking about defensive player of the year?
Yes.
Did anybody mention that boy in South Beach?
Oh, Jimmy Butler?
Oh, Jimmy Butler.
Hey, you know I love Jimmy, but
You talking about Bam?
I'm talking about Bam.
Okay.
I'm talking
I'm
about
not mad at
Bam.
that.
I think Bam with Kyle Lowry taking a little bit more of the offensive role. I think Bam's gonna have a lot more time to focus on his defense. I think it's gonna be nice.
I can
I'm not
see
mad at
that.
that.
I can
I
see
like
that.
that, man.
Let's take a pick.
All right, guys. We gotta wrap it up here shortly. So let's go ahead. We're gonna do our rankums. I want it real quick and easy. Booker, Bradley Beal, and Mr. Mitchell out there in Utah. So we're gonna go right up from the top all the way around. Tony, go ahead, shoot.
Oof. Man, that is good because all three of them are good.
Yeah, that's different.
I'm gonna say Donovan, Booker, and Beal.
Wow.
That's who I'm gonna go with.
All right,
Wow.
Freddie.
I don't want to piss you off, AJ. I'm gonna go Devin Booker. What he did in this year's playoffs was phenomenal. He went on a
Don't
great.
do it for me.
No, I'm just being honest. He went on a. I mean, Devin
I
Booker's
mean, you've
been
been
this guy.
aggravating us all night, so why stop now?
Kenny, I'm not aggravating you right now, so let me. Oh, please. I gotta go Devin Booker because I mean, even before the playoffs, man. Let's be honest with you, he's been that dude. You know, Devin Booker. Like you talking about a shooting guard position that can get buckets. Like he can
Yeah.
get buckets. Like you're not stopping Devin Booker. This dude scored 70 points in the game. He's like crazy. That's crazy in today's NBA. Number two, I gotta go Donovan Mitchell. You talking about somebody who steps up in the playoffs in the big moments, who's not afraid to get a bucket. Hey, that's Donovan Mitchell, and we've seen him. You know, it's not just a 1 year wonder. We see him every year. He go in the playoffs. He elevates the game. And then Bradley Beal, you know, you talking about a person who's gonna give you 30 at night, who's gonna average 30 for a season. Is Bradley Beal. You cannot stop. It seemed like when John Wall was there, he's still doing it. But when John Wall left, it seemed like this dude just elevated and just skyrocketed and took off. We just waiting, you know. Hopefully, we can see him in the big moments doing it, and we believe that Bradley Beal is that dude. So I'm gonna go Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, and Bradley Beal.
Mike.
My thing is, I think a big part of it is recency bias. So I'm gonna start from the bottom up because I want to make Jay think a little bit. So I'm gonna start from the bottom up. At 3, I got Beal. Just because of recency bias, I don't have enough of Beal as that number 1 dude. Like Freddie's point, John Wall leaves, then Russell still comes in. So it's like I really want to see how crazy this man's stats go with this year with just Kuzma, just role player type guys. I think he definitely could average over 30 points per game without hesitation on a consistent level. So I got Beal at 3. I got Donovan Mitchell at 2, and I'll tell you why. It's not because of recency bias. It's not because Devin Booker going to the finals. It has nothing to do with that. It's exactly what Devin Booker did with far less, and by that I mean Donovan Mitchell's that dude. Donovan Mitchell gets compared to D Wade. He gets all these other stuff from Stephen A. Smith and so many others. But you have Rudy Gobert. You have your dude right there. So for you to always come up short, I need to see more from that. And I think he's a dog. I think one day he will prove that, and he will be that dude. But right now I got Devin Booker at 1 just because of what he's done with far less, what he's done over the years, consistently been that dude. Not in the playoffs, but he's always been that dude you can count on night in and night out. So I got Devin Booker at 1, Mitchell 2, and then I got Beal at 3.
Okay. Freddie, Kenny.
For me, what separates these guys is going to be playmaking ability or ability to get other guys shots. And I think based on that, I'm going to go Donovan Mitchell number 1. I think he's a little better in terms of penetrating and getting guys open looks. Getting you talked about Rudy Gobert. He like literally lives off of Donovan Mitchell's drives and getting those lobs for those easy dunks. So he probably owes 75% of his offense to Donovan Mitchell. So I think because of that, I got him number 1. And then number 2, I got Devin Booker. If I had to pick my favorite out of the 3, it's Devin Booker because I just love his game. I just love how smooth he is with it, and just his shot is just beautiful to see and beautiful to watch. So I got him number 2, and then Bradley Beal. I think Mike, you nailed it. I think this year he's going to be a 30 to 35 point guy a night this year. Because this is his team. There's no question about it. He has to lead this team. And I think that the Wizards are going to be a little, under the radar because they do got some talent on that team. If you look at that roster, they got some talent on that team. So I think they might be a little deeper than they were in years past. So they might be a little better in terms of being more competitive in the East this year. So, but, just based off of the fact that, in terms of the best playmakers out of those 3, I picked Donovan Mitchell number 1. I got Devin Booker 2, and then I got Bradley Beal 3.
So,
we know you got Book number 1. We don't even got to.
Yes, sir, Jay. Listen, I got reasoning behind it too. But no, I got Donovan Mitchell last, you guys. And kind of Mike alluded to it. You alluded to it, kind of.
You got Donovan Mitchell. Wait, you said you got Donovan Mitchell where?
Last.
Oh, okay. I just thought
he's had the most consistent squad out of the 3, and to me, he's kind of just been going along, and so that's why I kind of put him at number 3. Bradley Beal, on the other hand, I have at number 2. I think that Bradley Beal performed well while being a number 2. We kind of got a glimpse of him as a number 1, and he didn't go leaps and bounds as far as increase in production, but he did increase his production, which is wonderful to see from going from with John Wall and then going there and you got it all by yourself. But the thing that gets me and to me what sets Booker over is Booker he's had the bad team. We've seen him score 70. We've seen him average 28 a game. Then, he has the good team. And we see what he's done to adapt with Chris Paul and him being the first option, but having to be without the ball. But don't forget, guys, this dude also played point guard for 3 years straight on this team because we couldn't find a real point guard. So Devin Booker has done every aspect of this offensive thing that we call, basketball. He scores, he can play point guard, he can deliver the thing, the rock when he needs to. But the most important thing, he adapts to what his team needs are and is still always at the top of the conversation. So that's why I put above those other ones.
Jay, you're being disrespectful when you talk about Donovan Mitchell. Yes, he is, Mike.
He's been the most consistent team. He's had Rudy Gobert. He's had Ingles. So what? Now he has
all those firepower. He's still putting up big numbers. Even all that firepower on his team, he's still putting up big numbers.
But do you see how much he's shooting?
Look at this, Jay. We've seen this year in the Western Conference Final when this dude was not healthy. This dude was hurt, injured. And guess what? We still see when he was not to himself, that team did not move. That team did not move without Donovan Mitchell. This year, we talk about guys when he come in the postseason that go missing. This is a dude when the postseason comes, his numbers elevates from the regular season. You cannot discredit him because his team was.
I'm not discrediting him. No. But what happened when Devin Booker's first time in the playoffs? What did he do?
He elevated, and that's why I said he should be number one. We have not seen Bradley Beal. We have not seen Bradley Beal in the big moments, Jay. No,
What Jay's point is that he's trying to make is Donovan Mitchell with great teams is consistently the same thing in the playoffs. Now, wait, hold on. With Devin Booker, in his first year of getting a taste of good talent around him, goes all the way to the end. All the way to the end. And maybe he didn't finish it. That's perfectly
With help,
fine.
Mike. With help, okay? With help.
But who has a better team?
With help, I'm trying to say, with help, Devin Booker fully takes advantage of those opportunities. Whereas Donovan Mitchell,
I agree. Donovan Mitchell's number one. I agree. It's not the debate with Donovan Mitchell. It's with Bradley Beal. What this team has not accomplished what Donovan Mitchell has, but Donovan Mitchell, with all the firepower that he has on his team, he still elevates his number. He still elevates to be the best player in that game. We have not seen Bradley Beal in that situation. Stop it, Jay. No. That's disrespectful. How many years?
You forget. Wait. You forget Bradley Beal, John Wall, Gortat, Oubre, the Morris brother, and then they had.
He wasn't putting up 30 a game.
Then they had Otto Porter on the bench.
He wasn't averaging 30 a game. Then
they
either.
Were pushing it. You just forget all that. You just think about the now, man.
He wasn't averaging 30 then. He was not averaging 30 then.
Who was it?
Bradley Beal. But Donovan Mitchell
averaging like 26, 27 a game.
Are we talking about Donovan Mitchell's giving you 35 to 40 in the playoffs, Jay, who's elevating himself, going against Dallas. Man, Jay, you stop.
But where is he at,
there, bro?
But where did he go?
Well, where did Bradley Beal go?
Cancun.
What is that? With Bradley Beal didn't have
stop it, Jay. Stop.
But Bradley Beal didn't have the same caliber of team.
You make it sound like he said he was like 5. This is 2 or 3.
But it's disrespectful to judge a man because he have a better team opposed to another man. If you put Donovan Mitchell on that Washington Wizards team, guess what? He might average 50. Stop it, man. That's disrespectful.
Average 50, but they're not going nowhere.
It's like Bradley Beal averaging 30. They didn't go nowhere. Look, they just got to bounce out the playoffs too this year.
Who?
Bradley Beal and the Washington Wizards.
But you're missing the point.
Oh, you didn't want to. You forgot about that. You didn't want to bring that part up, did you?
We didn't forget about that.
Chilling in the middle.
Because you just got on Donovan Mitchell for getting bounced out. Why not Bradley Beal?
I wasn't. That's not what I was saying.
So what are you thinking, Jay?
I'm saying that when you look at those two and compare those two, Donovan Mitchell has been on a better team. He's had more opportunities, been more susceptible to success. Bradley Beal, having him take over and him the ups and downs of that team. Remember, John Wall was injured and knocked out for almost a whole year on the squad, and Bradley Beal still did his thing and took them as far as he did. Then to go from 2 to 1 and increase your production the way he has with such a less team, and I think Bradley Beal is pushing his team further. Donovan Mitchell has way more tools on the squad, and he's not taking his team as far. How do you finish number 1 in the regular season and not make it down to the quarterfinals?
Do you watch basketball? Do you see what's been going on the last couple of years? What are you talking about? You talking about a few years ago when you have a Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant. Nobody's beating that team. Stop it. And then you're talking about this year. You're talking about this year, right?
I'm talking about the last 2 years.
Top seed. So last year, do you believe they's been that Lakers team with LeBron James, Anthony Davis? Nobody did.
Get out the first round.
But Freddie,
now you're talking about this year. Donovan Mitchell was hurt. He was hurt, Jay. Stop it. If he was healthy, things could have been different.
Freddie, but can I ask you?
You're talking about Donovan Mitchell with talent around him. Why are you holding that against him? That should be even more of a plus. With more firepower around him, he's still finding a way to put up numbers. He's still finding a way to put up numbers and being effective for that team. We have not seen Bradley Beal do that. We didn't see that in the playoffs. We didn't see him being average 30 in his playoffs this year. Stop it, Jay.
Freddie,
some of it was because of injury, because Bradley Beal was dealing with injury.
If Bradley Beal is to sign with the Lakers a year from now, and he joins Russ, and he joins
he's not averaging 30.
AD, where do you rank him?
Oh, he's top.
He's not averaging 30. He's not averaging 30.
But where would you rank him?
Top shooting guard in the league.
I know. No, I would not. I would not. No, I don't believe that. I believe James Harden is number 1.
But would he still be the third in this list?
Yes. Because Donovan Mitchell, he Donovan Mitchell ups his games when the playoffs come. When it comes to
you still got him 3, so I don't even understand what you going on for.
Donovan Mitchell's not 3. He's number 2 in my book.
I'm saying Bradley Beal would still be 3 if he was with the Lakers. You still said he would be in the 3rd spot. So I don't get what you going on for.
Because he's not going to average 30 with the Lakers. He wouldn't have.
Right, I understand it, but my point is that either way, you would have had him in the 3rd spot if this rank him if he was a Laker. So what's the difference?
Yeah, I think you.
Jay want to give discredit to man because he have a better team that he's putting up even way more numbers. But
he's not putting up way more numbers.
Yes, he is.
Jay's point was what he does with the opportunities given versus
the talent that he has around him.
He's done more with his team than Bradley Beal.
That's a valid. No, the valid point is that with the talent that they've had, the fact that they've been a top 4 or top 3 seed in the last 2 years in the playoffs and haven't gotten to the conference finals. That's a knock against him. I don't.
Yeah, it's the same thing they say about Chris Paul. Oh, you're good, you're great, you're fabulous, but you don't make it this far. You don't make it this far. You don't make it this far.
And until it's gonna be like that.
Okay, what about Bradley Beal, who's been the top 2-3 scorer of the league? But that's all he do. He can't do just score. Why can't we get the same damn narrative?
Now that I bring that up, you want to bring up he was a top 2 or 3 scorer in the league, but a second ago you said that he couldn't do it.
Well, I never said he couldn't do it. I'm talking about in the playoffs, Jay. Don't move the damn goal. Keep the goal right here. Keep it right here. There you go again. Every time you do it, I'm going to call you out on it, too. Jay,
go you be trying to mix conversations and situations. Anyways, guys, that's enough time for the night. Thank you guys for tuning in at ASAP Real Talk. You know, again, you can catch us each and every Monday and Thursday. Any last thoughts before we get out of here? Anyone?
No, I've had enough of Freddie.
Hey, Kenny, I love you, my brothers. Much love down here in Texas, man. Hey, I just try to educate y'all. That's all I try to do. That's all I try to do.
You don't educate.
And before the Freddie Facts get started, this is Mike Hughes. I'm gone.
Hey,
everybody have a good weekend.
You got a lot more years ahead of you, so you start educating me. But anyways, everybody have a good night.
Hey.
Hello, how are you guys doing?